Yeah, what's most amazing is the criticism's not just coming from the media or from Democrats. You're hearing from a lot more Republicans than I think we've ever heard from in terms of condemning an action or a move by the president. Even on Fox News, which is obviously typically very friendly to the president, you had a dozen different commentators who were in disbelief or disgusted by what the president said in front of Vladimir Putin. And to us, like, we're hearing from White House officials, by text, by email, by call, almost nobody's defending the president. Nobody's trying to even explain the president. I think they themselves were really dumbfounded by the president's performance with Putin. And the only explanation you really hear from anyone on the inside is that the president from day one has had a really hard time when he feels like people are saying his election victory was illegitimate or that the Robert Mueller probe is legitimate. He has a very hard time then separating that from the fact that the intelligence community, every single person involved basically, has come to the same conclusion about Russian interference in the election.
Here's what I don't get. Even if he is incredibly thin-skinned on that, even if he's never going to see that, the idea that you don't say anything about the annexation of Crimea, you don't say anything about Syria, you don't even pretend to take a hard line on any of those stances or on the poisoning of those two individuals in the UK. I don't understand why at some point you don't step up and say something. Will he see this as a blind spot and eventually change his mind, or you think that this is set in stone across the board?
The president never changes his mind. There's no way he's going to come out today and say, oh boy, I made a mistake. I should have been tougher with Vladimir Putin yesterday. In fact, if you look at the interview he did with Hannity, look at some of the snippets that we're talking about with the interview they did with Tucker Carlson, he's going to double down and he's going to defend himself. He just is sort of incapable from day one of the self-reflection that would come with saying, you know what, I should have handled that differently. And I think that's why you have a lot of Republicans saying, geez, what's up? Like, what? This was so unusual, even in a presidency that's had a lot of unusual moments. And that's why you look at that John McCain statement, you look at Dan Coates, the head of intelligence for the president's team. That's why you have all of them putting out statements and telling people that they just disagree with the president. And that's what's so remarkable. We can argue about whether or not the president gets too tough of coverage, but every single person involved in the intelligence apparatus, Republican, Democrat, new, old, they've all come to the exact same conclusion about Russian interference. There's no ambiguity here. There's nothing actually to debate. There's often a he said, she said dimension to stories. There's not. There's a uniform they said. They said that Putin clearly tried to interfere in our elections, might have been successful, and you have the president almost alone in saying, well, you know what, it's a little bit of us, a little bit of them.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.